We have Serge Ngoma, homegrown player with the New York Red Bulls, here with us today. Thank you so much for being here with us. We're so excited.
Thanks for having me. Yes, thanks for having me.
So, Serge, you've been with is this your third season with the New York Red Bulls?
This is my fourth season.
Your fourth.
Yeah, this is my fourth season with the club.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
So when did you sign your pro contract? How old were you?
I was 16.
I mean, that is crazy. It's surreal, right? I mean, Liam's 11, going to be 12.
That's when I started. That's when I started in the academy. So,
Yeah, so we're gonna get into all that because we want to hear your backstory. So, we first met you. It was when I was the MLS season pass ambassador for Apple TV, and we were at an Adidas event in Soho. Do you
yeah, I
remember
remember.
that?
Yeah, I think I played foosball.
Yeah, I
Yeah, we
remember
played
that. Yeah.
foosball.
Yeah, that was such a fun night. Yeah, so you've been one of our favorites since that night. But we're so glad you're here. We just want you to share your journey, and we just want to hear how you've handled it since like youth to pro, and just like tips and insights that so many parents and children can relate to. So, with that, where did you grow up?
I grew up in North Plainfield.
Where is that from Red Bull Arena?
It's like 35 minutes, 40 minutes. Where are you guys from?
Well, I'm from Illinois originally, and I've lived all over. I'm like a transplant kid. Like, I lived in California, then I went to New York. Liam was born in New York. And then when he started with the pre academy, that's when we decided to move out to New Jersey. I
I
think
like
we
it.
miss parts of the city, like everything being in walking distance. But I mean, it's definitely easier living in New Jersey. I mean, in our life, I mean, as you know, like life becomes like soccer. Like, so it's just easier, like going back and forth with practice and the games.
Yeah.
You feel that way, Lee? So, do you want to ask one of your questions?
How old were you when you started playing soccer?
I was 3 years old. My dad, he was a coach. He coached my sister's like recreation team, and I went along with him one day just to, you know, I don't know, just to tag along. And then on the sideline, I was playing, and then he let me join in the drills, and that was the rest is history.
Yeah, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
So, you were like kicking a ball, like basically when you started walking.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Did you play any other sports when you were younger?
I was a wrestler,
Oh,
not like
wow.
WWE or anything, but like Olympic wrestling. Olympic wrestling. Yeah. Yeah, I did that up until like seventh grade, seventh, eighth grade. Yeah.
Being from the Midwest, wrestling is really like it's a really big
Big.
sport there. And both of my nephews wrestled, and they like did really well in high school, your cousins.
Hmm.
But wow. So at what age did you like solely focus on soccer?
What? How old are you in seventh grade?
12.
Yeah, well you're 11 going on 12. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, like around that age, 11, 12 is when I was just like, all right. It was beginning to be a bit too much, just doing both. So we just said, all right, let's just go full time, just soccer.
I know when Liam was growing up, he only played soccer. And growing up, everyone was like, he needs to try all the sports and do all do everything. But you pretty much just wanted to do soccer
Hmm.
from the get go. So in a way, it's made my life easier because eventually you have to like kind of focus on one sport, right?
Definitely, definitely.
When did things turn from like soccer is a hobby to I think this is going to be something serious. Like I have a really, great chance of like moving up the ladder and going pro. Like when did that kind of click?
So my mom took me to England on this, like it was a trip. I got scouted to go play. It was like scrimmages or somewhat of a, like, I wouldn't say a tournament, but we went and played 3 games in London. And yeah, and when we went, we saw how the kids were like starting super young, and how the programs were just so, I guess, strict. And so my mom was like, this is like, if that's something that you really want to do, then that's, you have to start young. And for me, I was like, I've always loved the game. I've always been super competitive and everything, and I've always wanted to be a professional. But when I went there and I saw the environment, I was like, this is something that I really, really want.
Yeah. So did you go, was that trip with the Red Bulls or
No, it was through this like program called Sport 11. I'm not sure if they're still around, but yeah, Sport 11.
Lee, your was it your pre-academy? Yeah, your pre-academy. His team went to, was it England, London?
Yeah, Wolverhampton.
Who all did you play?
We played Stoke City, played Wolves, played Everton,
Okay.
Liverpool.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and like those types of teams.
It was
Really
really,
competitive.
yeah, really competitive,
Yeah.
right? Like it was, I think, really eye-opening for these kids, right? And I think that's why the Red Bulls do it. Like this is like prepping them for, their future, what it's going to be
Yeah.
like, and time to like kind of break off from mom and dad because they didn't really,
Yeah.
kind of persuaded against parents going and you guys,
Yeah.
Yeah.
being grown-ups. So let's go back to like what team did you start with and then like when did you transition to Red Bull Academy?
Okay. So I started uh, recreation, obviously, and then my first like travel team was the North Plainfield Hayden boys. That was the first time like I really played in like tournaments and everything like that. And then we ended up playing against NJ Elite, which is now I think NJ Premier. Um, yeah, so we played them in a tournament, an indoor tournament, and we gave them a really hard time, and I scored like a good amount of goals, and then they wanted me to come in. They wanted me to come and play with them. And so for a while, I was doing both. I was playing for both NJ Elite and the Hayden boys, and then that got to be too much just on my body and everything, and so I just ended up choosing NJ Elite just because it was a higher level competition and everything. And then eventually, when I was 11, we played against RDS. Yeah, we played against RDS. Yeah, did you do RDS?
Mm, yeah.
So we played against RDS and we beat them 4-3. And I scored a hat trick in that game. And then the U12, the U13 coach, Kobe Johnson. He followed like my dad.
Is
You
that
know
Kobe?
Kobe?
Yeah, I know Kobe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he followed me and my dad and my coach at the time, Frankie. He followed us to the parking lot, and there he asked me to come like train that week, and then I went and trained, and then they offered me a spot. So
So, how many days a week do you practice?
right now,
Yeah.
every day. Every day except for Mondays. We do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday game, Saturday training, Sunday, and then Monday get to relax. Yeah.
Yeah, was it the same way in the academy every day and then
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much in the academy it was the same way. I think we had Sundays off though. If we didn't have a game. Yeah. How is it now?
It's
it's
3 days a week.
it's 3 days a
3 days?
week practice, but there's times that you have games Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
But here's my question. So obviously he gets a good amount of time with the Red Bulls.
Hmm.
Did you do private training outside of like your training with the Red Bulls?
Yes, I did. I trained a lot with my dad. Like my dad he was my dad, my personal trainer, gym coach, everything.
I just believe like he should have 1 day of rest. Do you agree with that?
Rest is so important and it's something that I think as I got older, like yeah, as I got older and started playing just against tougher competition, older people, the speed of the game got quicker. My body, I think, just needed a bit more time to recover. So off days or rest days are super important. Super important, definitely.
Well, I'm glad you said it. Maybe he'll listen to you. We're doing pretty good with trying to like get one rest day or just be a kid
Friday's our rest
day.
day.
Yeah. Yeah, we're trying to do that. We're kind of going out of sequence here, but one of the questions relating to Liam, how important is nutrition? And like, when did you become like serious about nutrition?
I think I've always been pretty serious on nutrition. So my dad, he was a bodybuilder. So me and my sister, yeah, this guy was.
Yeah, that's intense.
Um, so he was a bodybuilder. So his meals were like baked chicken, or grilled chicken with like no seasoning, and steamed broccoli, and sometimes no carbs or anything. But so his nutrition was always like he was very serious about that. And then for us, he had me and my sister in sports, and so our nutrition was pretty much based on that, or he was pretty much in charge of that. I would sneak my candy here and there, but it was super. I think that yeah, our nutrition was super important for them, and especially also for my mom as well. She made sure that our portions were good. Um, yeah, and that we were always fed with just healthy things.
Lee, do you want to tell Serge what you currently eat?
No.
At a certain point with the academy or with the Red Bulls, do they kind of help the kids with nutrition or like, you pro players?
So what they would do in the academy was they'd have us do have like a day where the parents would come in for a meeting, and it'd be like the parents and the kids, and we'd have like a nutrition meeting, and they'd like list the things that are good to eat, things that are good to eat before the games, or things to eat after the game, and yeah, yeah. So they would do that. They would do that for sure, and some of the kids really needed it. So I don't know what you're eating, Liam, but but hey, I'll tell you this. I say that there are certain things that it's all right to eat, like junk food once a week or something like that's fine.
Yeah, once a week we could roll with.
Or yeah, all right,
We
fine,
gotta
fine,
work on
fine.
like some more protein, I think, in his diet.
What's like a what's your favorite meal to eat right now?
Chicken tenders?
Chicken tenders? It's
Yes.
a solid meal.
His favorite place is
It's a place in New York called Flame
a
Hibachi.
hibachi place. They have a
Okay.
location on the Upper West Side and then downtown. But we used to live on the Upper West Side, so that was like a neighborhood spot. Like we loved it.
So you went pro at a young age. Like, how'd you deal with like school?
So my mom, she's an educator, so she would not let me not have like just a good program to do, and she didn't want to see me like fall behind in class or anything like that because so I started in I started doing like online school my last year in the academy just because the schedules that they would have us train, they would have us come in at like 2 o'clock on certain days, and so that would cut into a school schedule. So we started doing online school, and COVID hit, um, which it was good because I was already accustomed to just working from home or doing school from home. Um, and then when when we came back from COVID is when I started playing with the second team, and I was 14 when I was training with them, and then so I was already doing my classes and everything online. So I go to training, come back home, do my classes, and then that lasted, I guess, for the remainder of the time. Yeah, and then I finally graduated last summer or the summer before that.
I mean, this is kind of like the first time like I've had to think about it, like until you're in the soccer world and thinking about like the academy and the progression of, and you hear, obviously, we know
Yeah,
stories of like you and Julian Hall and like kids, I feel like younger and younger are like signing
yeah,
pro. So, you think about it like, wow, how do you handle school? Does the Red Bulls offer schooling?
yeah. They do. They offer. I think they have a partnership with Sala.
Oh yeah, Sala. Yeah, I know Sala. So how do you handle doubts and fears?
So I rely on my faith a lot. in those moments.
Love that. Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the things that I have tattooed on me is Psalms 94, 18, 19, which is when I thought my foot was slipping, your steadfast love, O Lord, held me up. And when the cares in my heart are many, your consolations cheer my soul. Um, so for me, yeah, so for me, that's definitely something that helps me. And then I rely on like my mom or my dad and my sister, my girlfriend, just to, if I don't have it all the time and, like whatever, then I allow them to sort of help me up. So you're young. One, you got to always believe in yourself, right?
That's
Like
great
belief is
advice.
super, super important. Because if you don't believe in yourself, then you can't expect anybody else to, right? But also, if you don't have it in that moment, being vulnerable enough to go to your mom and tell her how you're feeling, right? And expect for her to have your back.
Yeah.
We literally just had that conversation in the car. Like, I don't know, like, I don't know what you're feeling until you tell me. So, yeah, yeah, yeah. So, you got to just learn to speak up. But that is great advice. You got to believe in yourself. With that, I know that you've had some injuries. Like, how did you deal with injury? Like, that's got to be,
Same thing, really, truly, just my faith. But yeah, it gets hard. It
yeah.
truly does it gets hard, and because all I want to do is play. And from a young age, I've always just loved soccer, and I never had to like stop playing because of anything.
What's the longest you had to be out?
I don't know. So my injuries have been weird. My injuries have been very weird. So in 2023, I had a hamstring injury and a quad injury, and in that year I only played 2 games. Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
so,
and that was very tough. I think that was one of the toughest moments because I would come back and then something would happen. So I think it'd probably be that. Yeah. But I leaned on my family honestly and and prayed.
did you ever have like moments that went through your head like, I don't know, will I recover? Or like, what could I get cut? Or like, will this be held against me? Or I don't know. Is there ever like that going through your head too?
So I'd be lying if I said that the whole time I was positive, but fake it till you make it. I think that you do have those moments where you have those doubts or you have those worries and everything. I think the club was very good at making sure that I knew that they were 100% behind me. Um, and then my family was also super great at supporting me and making sure that I had everything um, that I needed in those times in terms of like love and support and everything. So
I love that. It sounds like you have a great support system. And of course, I follow you on Instagram and I always see your like amazing posts with your girlfriend too. So she looks like an amazing support system.
yeah, she's great.
What was it like to play at Red Bull Arena at your pro debut?
Like your first game like ever at Red Bull Arena.
I mean, that was crazy. So I made my debut in San Jose, and then that year I ended up getting hurt in like the fourth game, and I was on the bench for 2 of the games at the arena, but I didn't get to play. And so when I got to go in and I got to play in front of my family, right? You see the supporters and everything. And for me as a kid, like I had been to that stadium a few times. Like I've seen the games. I was a ball boy there, and then I got to walk onto the pitch and I got to play, right, as a Red Bull player. I think that was surreal.
Oh, it has to be. Yeah. Wait, how did you become a ball boy? Like how does that happen?
So
Does
with
it
the
run through the
academy,
academy?
yeah. So our whole U13 team and the U14s, we were all ball boys. That was funny. That game was so cold. You know what's so funny about that? That game was freezing, and they played Portland. And then, do you guys know Ben Mines?
I don't know.
So Ben Mines he was a player before, and he scored his first goal. I think he made his debut at 7. He was 17. Um, he scored in the 17th minute or something like that, and it was pretty cool.
That is cool. Well, speaking of that, aren't you like one of like the I don't know, like the third youngest players to like ever score in the MLS?
So when I scored, I was the third youngest in club history, and then Julian scored. Thank you, Julian. And now I'm the fourth. So now I'm the fourth. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's still that's amazing. What was it like to play in the academy? Like in the system? Because I feel like you always hear like the Red Bull way, and I feel like they're one of like the top ranked academies, right? Like, what does that feel like? Or what did that feel like?
Feels like a lot of running. I think it's really amazing just because when you are there, you have such a clear path to, I guess, the first team or to like a professional environment. And the way that they structure everything in the academy is super professional. Um, and they make sure that like you understand. I spoke about this with somebody um, where we'd be playing a game and the first team would be training on the grass over on the grass next to us, and having that and having that as motivation and seeing that that is that close to you, um, I think goes a long way in the minds of the kids, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Yeah. Yeah, like even when you have games on the weekends, sometimes we'll see you guys practicing over there and we're like, that is just
It's cool.
not that many years away, you know? Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
I know. And that's another
God
thing. They
willing.
sign kids really young. Yeah, they sign kids
Yeah.
really young. So that gives you extra motivation for sure.
Yeah. I love the fact, and I feel like Red Bull does it maybe, I don't know, the best or the most, but I feel like there's a lot of homegrown players. So, I mean, that's awesome and very motivating too for the young kids.
Who are your soccer idols?
I've always been like a huge Messi fan. Um, always, yeah. I've always been a huge Messi fan. But so Mbappe's first World Cup was 2018, and that was my second year in the academy. And I remember in the summer training and seeing this dude who's like 18, 19 years old, um, balling at a World Cup. Um, and so I'd definitely say Mbappe just because his speed, his technique, everything is for me. Speed is a big part of my game. So watching him and just how he moves, how he controls his speed, and how he uses his speed, I'd say definitely he's definitely one of my soccer idols for sure.
Definitely.
Messi's the GOAT though.
Yes, that's true.
Just
That is true.
big Messi fan over here. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I see myself where I'm supposed to be, honestly. So what I try and focus on is like right now and making sure that I'm taking all the steps. And obviously, any soccer player where you want to be is Europe and playing in things like the Champions League and everything like that. And that's where I ultimately want to be. Um, but for me, in 5 years, hopefully I'm there. Um, but like I said, I see myself where I'm supposed to be, wherever the path takes me.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yep. That's great advice. So I think we are like coming to the end. What's your like advice and for basically what's your advice for the young kids that want to be where you are today?
Yeah.
And then um what's your advice for the parents, you know? Because I feel like too, we get more nervous and uptight than Liam does. You know, even like this time of year when it comes time for like cuts for next season, like it's like very you know, you get very anxious and
Right,
nervous, but I
right.
think he handles it and the kids handle it better than the parents. So, advice for the kids and then advice for the parents.
I'd say like focus on your path. You know, like your path is going to be entirely different than someone else's. Like my path is entirely different than somebody that the club drafts, and somebody goes to college first and then comes to the like I joined when I was 16. There's players that join when they're 20, 21, right? Or 20, 22. Everybody's path is different. So
Hmm.
don't get too caught up in, oh, this person's going pro now, or this person got signed here. Like, that's your path is it's gonna take its course.
Yeah.
So just focus on that, and focus on making sure that every day you're doing the right things. That's gonna ultimately get you to your end goal.
Great advice. And then any final advice for the parents, for mommy over here?
Always being honest. I think something for me that's helped me is my dad always being honest with me on how he thought that I played, um, or how he thinks that, like, oh, if I could have done something better here or there. And I mean, it sucks to, like, you don't want to hear it,
Yeah.
right? But you have to, right? And ultimately, I think that there's not a lot that anyone can like say to me to bring me down, because there's stuff that, like, I've heard, but I also receive the criticism well, because I had somebody who was tough on me, right? But also, they he was tough on me, but he also celebrated me when I did something well. He let me know that I did something well. So it's like having a balance of the two.
I love that. Um, I'm actually the critical one for Liam, and his dad is like, always like, that's so wonderful. You did awesome, amazing. But so wouldn't you say I'm the tougher one of dad?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I'm glad you gave that advice, but we all need to be able to handle criticism in life, right?
I think that builds you the most, definitely.
I forgot to hold up this picture.
Oh no.
Oh, you are framed. That's from our Adidas event. I mean, look how little you were, Lee. Totally different hairstyle.
You look like Julian. That's the Julian haircut.
Yeah, we need a little trim over
Yeah, just a
here.
little trim.
Thank you so much for
No,
taking the
of
time
course.
to be with us today. It
Hmm.
means so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate that advice that you gave to me and my mom.
Of course. Of course. Thank you guys for having me on, and I'm looking forward to seeing your path, man. I'm seeing you come up with us one day train, huh?
Yeah.
How
Thank you.
amazing. From your lips to God's ears. So we're wishing you all the best this season. I know you have opening day this weekend.
Yeah, yeah, opening day in Cincinnati. It's gonna be a good game. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Make sure you guys watch.
Yeah, we
Oh
will for
yeah, I'm watching.
sure. And then yeah, we'll see you on the pitch. Hopefully, I think
Yes,
what is that, the
ma'am.
first?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
home opener.
first.
I think
The
you're
home
yeah.
opener.
Yeah,
Right.
so we'll see you soon.
Yes, ma'am. I'll see you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Have a good night.
Okay, bye.